let's go. What's the first mitzvah?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hi, Torah lovers. This is Every Single Mitzvah, where we learn every single mitzvah. I'm Lexi.
And I'm Cole.
And this is the Sefer HaChinuch, the Book of Mitzvah Education. This is the very first episode.
Welcome.
Well, it's the second episode, but it's the first mitzvah. The Sefer HaChinuch lays out all 613 commandments in order of what parsha they appear in. So today we're starting with Parsha Bereshit, the very first parsha. We're going to find out what mitzvahs are in it, what those mitzvahs are about, and we're going to talk about it.
The first mitzvah, in order of the Torah, not in order of importance, although seems important, to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, I've heard that one before. We read this?
I think we should read it, right?
There's one.
What else are we doing here?
There's one positive precept to it, the mitzvah of procreation, as it is stated. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. As regards the root purpose of this precept is in order that the world should be settled and habited. For the eternal Lord, blessed is he, desires its settlement, as it is written. He did not create it in chaos, he formed it to be inhabited.
So, the first mitzvah we get in the Torah is to be fruitful and multiply, which means to have children. It says that in the Torah. It's a verse, be fruitful and multiply, which means have lots of children. And we're saying the reason is so that we should inhabit the whole earth.
Yeah.
Am I getting that?
I think so. So that the world should be settled, inhabited.
All right. So we should be living in the world. The whole world should be full of wonderful humans.
Yeah.
And that is the reason that God wants us to have children.
Yeah, and I think it seems like there's one part which is like, we want good people, whatever that means, to inhabit the earth, but also what I'm reading in this is he did not create it in chaos, he formed it to be inhabited, that if God did all this work of creating a beautiful earth with mountains and rivers and oceans and forests, at least there should be people who get to see it.
Yeah. God wants the creation to be witnessed and beheld by people. By people.
Yeah. This is an important mitzvah by virtue of which all the mitzvot in the world are fulfilled.
Because humans fulfill the mitzvahs. So if there's no humans, who's going to do the mitzvahs?
Yeah. Okay, so maybe it's supposed to be the first one for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first
one. It is literally the first one.
And it's all humans. All humans. Like, God doesn't give this commandment to Moshe. God gives this commandment to Adam and Chava, the first two human beings.
Yeah.
We're all commanded in being fruitful and multiply. Don't I know what you're feeling? We're going to talk about that.
A man is obligated to strive for it, I think, to be, from the time as he is suited for it. Okay. So, not before puberty. This being the age of the stages of blessed memory set for taking a wife, i.e. at 18. Okay, so you should get married at 18.
You get married at 18, and once you turn 18, you become obligated in having children.
Yes.
All right?
This religious obligation is not imposed on women. I don't understand.
I think if you go on.
Women, I think, they are not required to take initiative and strive to marry at all costs. If they refuse to marry, they violate no precept, for the obligation is on the male.
To be fruitful and multiply, men are obligated.
Yes.
Okay.
In this book, this guy writes, it is not unlikely that the Torah freed the woman from the religious obligation to be fruitful and multiply, and imposed it only on the man, because the woman endangers her life in pregnancy and childbirth, and hence it would not be made her religious duty.
If you are someone who is going to be giving birth to the child in the being fruitful and multiply arrangement, you are not obligated, because you are not going to ever be commanded to do something that puts your life at risk.
That's nice. That's comforting.
It's a little less comforting for me, I have to be honest. Because when I first was reading this, I was like, oh, women aren't obligated in childbirth. That's a big relief for me, because I did not preserve my genetic material before starting HRT. So I'm never going to be able to do this commandment. So it's like, that's great, I wasn't obligated, thank God. But if the reason that it says that women aren't obligated is because they assume that the woman is the one who's giving birth to the child, who is actually not obligated is the person giving birth, that I'm still on the hook, and I kind of made a big mess up, which is sad. Yeah. I feel sad. Yeah. About it.
What comes to mind is not appropriate, but I'll share anyway. There was this very bad movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, where one of them, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger has a fetus implanted into his abdomen and carries it full term, and has a cesarean, obviously. So, if it can happen in the movies, maybe you one day could give birth. Okay, but what if you adopt a kid? Yeah. Does that not fulfill the commandment? I guess you're not inhabiting the earth with more people, but...
Well, you're helping sustain the species, so I think it is contributing in a way to the sacred settling of the earth. Yeah. But it's not the letter of the law, which is be fruitful and multiply. Right. Is the mitzvah more about its reason, or is the mitzvah really about the mitzvah? Yeah. Right. Is the mitzvah commanded so that we can do the reason? And if we have another way to do the reason, are we okay on the mitzvah? Or is the mitzvah itself really what's crucial?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think it's just cool to ask that question. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Okay, let's, for a moment, think about only heterosexual marriages.
Please forgive us.
Just to say, if the man has an obligation to fulfill, be fruitful, multiply, but the woman doesn't, that feels like that's going to get complicated very quickly. It takes both of them to have a baby. And if one's obligated and one's not, there's, I would imagine, more drive for the man to do it than the woman. And let's say the woman can't have children because it's too dangerous in childbirth. So then what? Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of questions about polyamory and polygamy in this. Like,
I mean, polygamy for sure, 100% okay by the rabbis.
It's like, if it's like, have as many as you possibly can. Yeah. I would imagine.
Well, I don't think it's not as many as you possibly can. It's one, what the footnote says in this book, one son and one daughter. Yes. So once you've had 2 kids, you're good.
Right, but people really have a lot more.
That's true. I think that's a trauma response. I mean, I kind of like to take a more like psychological lens on on being commanded on mitzvahs also. Like, it's kind of like to take it as just like, this is a psychological fact that is being described about human consciousness. That saying we're commanded to be fruitful, multiply, I think can also be understood as it's hardwired in the species to have an urge to reproduce. Right. Not in every single individual, but in general it does seem like we're pretty good at making more of ourselves. Yeah. And this is just, rather than prescribing a commandment, just a description of the fact of being human in a divine relationship. Yeah. Is the part of that is we want to keep it going to be able to be in a relationship with God that is a species-wide and generations-long relationship that I'm just supposed to see myself as a link in. So it's a mitzvah, but this is one of the mitzvahs that I feel like is very intuitive. Yeah. To me. Yeah. It's yes, I feel the urge, I feel the commandment. Yeah. In my guts.
That makes sense.
To reproduce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm good on this.
Let's go on.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, Torah lovers. This video's learning is sponsored in memory of these beloved neshamas. If you'd like to sponsor the learning on the channel, you can head to our Patreon, patreon.com/T4Torah, and sign up. Especially in our first year, your support makes a huge difference. The more support we get now, the more likely it is that T4Torah will be able to sustain itself in the future and keep making content for you and with you. As always, if you are trans and Jewish and you want to have your voice shared on the channel, reach out to me and we will make it happen.
Next time on Every Single Mitzvah, looks like we'll be looking at circumcision. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Every Single Mitzvah.
הפכת מזוודי למחולי, פיתחת שק ותעזרני שמחה, למען יזמך חבוא ולא ידום, אדוני